Hey, welcome to our first Wild Deck Spotlight of 2019. The format is currently undergoing a significant amount of playtesting with the 2019 Wild Open on the horizon. Many of the decks that players expected to be staples were hit by the December balance patch, so the nerfs to Level Up, Nourish, and Wild Growth significantly reduced the power level of Jade Druid and Odd Paladin. One other deck that was significantly stifled by this set of nerfs was Kingsbane Rogue due to the loss of Leeching Poison as we knew it. Kingsbane Rogue no longer has the ability to be an anti-control deck now that it's lost a life-stealing weapon that can be buffed to shut opponents out of the game. However, with the removal of Druid from the metagame and the attack buffs continuing to stay on a buffed Kingsbane, the archetype has become more aggressive. Kingsbane Rogue evolved from an anti-control deck into an aggro deck that capitalizes on some of the more broken and previously unexplored synergies in Rogue. We are featuring Aggro Kingsbane Rogue as one of the newest decks on the Wild ladder, breaking down what makes it tick in the format. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for Tempo Storm news and Hearthstone content. With that said, let's get right into it. When looking at this deck list, there are two Wild exclusive cards that really stand out as powerhouses which push this deck forward. The first is Ship's Cannon, which establishes immense early board leads by dealing 2 damage to an enemy when playing a pirate. We regularly see one in the earliest turns of the game, and with patches in Wild, we can see 4 damage dealt across 2 targets. This can stabilize your board much more effectively than other aggro decks in the ladder which can't run Ship's Cannon, namely odd and even decks. The other card which makes this deck work is Tinker's Sharp Sword Oil. This card has traditionally been very effective in any rogue deck it's played in. The weapon buff is substantial, but you can often use its combo to get additional face damage off a minion on board as well. This card allows for extra burst damage which this deck needs to capitalize on to win the game. Now that we understand 2 of the more broken cards which propel the deck forward, let's look at how the deck plays. Aggro Kingsbane Rogue is focused on winning the board in early turns with pirates and pirate synergy cards like Ship's Cannon. Throughout the game, the deck draws Kingsbane from either Cavern Shiny Finder or Raiding Party. Kingsbane then gets buffed by cards such as Deadly Poison, Buccaneer, and Tinker's Sharp Sword Oil. In the mid-game, this deck transitions into a face deck, looking to swing the buffed Kingsbane at your opponent's face and burn him out with weapon hits, and sometimes Leroy Jenkins.
Let's do this.
The big kicker about Kingsbane Rogue and Wild is that the optimal deck list has not been found yet. The main thing that breathes life into this deck at the moment is Myra's Unstable Element, which draws your whole deck. This is a fairly good card to run in this deck against control matchups, as you'll often have your control opponent begin stabilizing by the mid-game. Refilling your cards can push you towards killing your opponent, similarly to how Alaneth does in Aggro Mage. The reason why this is so powerful at the moment, when why Myra's has not been seeing play in Wild Odd Rogue, is that the card isn't that good on its own. However, this deck is running multiple spells over 3 mana, such as Tinker's and Raiding Party, which incentivizes the use of preparation. If you're able to prep out a Myra's Unstable Element, the deck's win rate skyrockets. This is the high roll which can win you games on the spot. Running out of juice is often how you lose the game, and having a fistful of damage can outright win them. Now that we know how this deck operates, let's compare it to the deck that it's competing with the most, Odd Rogue. Both of these decks rely on pirate synergies, but Kingsbane Rogue plays even cards as well, including Ship's Cannon. The main difference between the decks in the current states is that Odd Rogue is a bit more consistent with the threats that it can put out, with cards like Hench Clan Thug and Argent Horse Rider that can put constant pressure on your opponent. Kingsbane Rogue is effectively a high roll deck. It has one of the strongest openings in the game with a pirate and Ship's Cannon, but without it, the deck can struggle with securing the early game, and if you don't draw into certain cards in the matchup like Myra's or Tinker's, your control opponents can often contain the initial pressure that you put on. However, when you get more powerful cards, you get more powerful and explosive ways to shut the game out compared to Odd Rogue, and can break through defenses that Odd Rogue sometimes can't. It seems that based on the current builds, Odd Rogue is more consistent, but Kingsbane has a built-in high roll factor which can win games that Odd Rogue wouldn't be able to, or any game on the Wild ladder. In our minds, this puts Kingsbane slightly behind Odd Rogue in power level, but changes to the build, the meta, and even our understanding of the deck could potentially push the deck higher up on the tier list as time goes on. Don't let the recent drop from the bottom of tier 2 to the top of 3 fool ya. With the right matchups and the right tech, this deck may surprise us in future Wild meta snapshots. Thanks for watching our latest deck spotlight. We hope you put this overview to good use on the Wild ladder while there's still time to qualify for the next stage of the 2019 Wild Open. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more videos in the days to come, including the next edition of our Tempo Storm Wild Meta Snapshot. Thanks for watching.